Hey, we're back with the Exploring World History, lesson number 27. Its title is The Nations of the Ancient Near East. And it starts in your book and says Israel did not occupy the promised land in a vacuum. They were surrounded by several other nations, nations that were pagan and that often threatened the peace of Israel. The Bible and archaeology gives us information on many of the nations that existed in the ancient Near East. And this lesson is going to highlight some of these people. So, what were these nations? And so, we're just going to kind of go through a list of them and see some of them. Um, the first one, if you've read your Bible, should be a very familiar group of people called the Philistines. Okay, they were from Philistia. It's a group of city-states, and they occupied the coastal regions southwest of Israel, and they had five main cities that went with the Philistines. You had Gaza, Ascalon, Ashdod, Ekron, and Gath. Okay, these people were the descendants of Ham. They thought to have come from the area of the Aegean Sea, and the earliest archaeological references for them are around 1185 BC, and this is through an Egyptian text from Pharaoh of Ramses III. Okay, the Philistines were a warrior people. They had iron weapons, and they had an advantage over the Israelites because of this. And these people show the transition between the Bronze Age and the Iron Age that was going on at this time. They were also constantly in conflict with Israel. Okay, think about the story of Samson, that was dealing with the Philistines. Think about the story of David and Goliath, that was also dealing with the Philistines. Okay, and the Philistines had many different gods. Their chief god was the god of harvest, and he was called Dagon. They also had a chief goddess whose name was Ashtoreth. And one of their other major gods was Beelzebub. Okay, and so these Philistine people had a legacy that kind of lives on to current modern day, and some names that they have. Palestine is derived from Philistine, and it's still over in the area of Israel and can still cause problems. And like I said, in and near Israel. And Gaza is one of their major five cities that we talked about. And it's a coastal area between modern Israel and Egypt, and it is still there, still named Gaza. The next group of people that we'll talk about is called the Hittites, okay? For a very long time, there was a lot of questions as to whether the Hittites were even a real people. There was, the Bible talks about 50 different references to the Hittites, but nothing was known about the Hittites outside of the Bible. And so there was a lot of scholars who would use this, and a lot of people would use this to basically say the Bible's inaccurate, it wasn't true, tried to show doubt in that the accuracy of the Bible. And so scholars kind of doubted whether they existed, and again tried to use it to show the Bible was wrong. Then, around 1900, archaeologists discovered the existence of the Hittites, okay? They found the Hittite civilization, and it was centered in Asia Minor. Somewhere between 1800 and 1200 BC, this civilization lasted. The Hittite people were skilled in battle and were always expanding their territory, okay? They developed iron weapons. They used light horse-drawn chariots, and eventually around 1200 BC, their empire was defeated. The next group of people is the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians occupied an area just north of Israel, which would be modern-day Lebanon. They had two major cities, Tyre and Sidon, and they had some other port cities as well, but they were a seafaring and trading people. The Phoenicians did a lot of trading via the sea. Some of the major things they traded was cedar wood, and eventually got the names of the cedars of Lebanon and that area as well. They had mirax as well, which is a purple dye made from snails. It was very beautiful, but also very expensive. It was usually only used for royalty because they were the only people that could afford it. And Phoenicia is the Greek word for purple, and so that's where they get their name. Again, they were seafaring people. They had lots of ships. They crossed the Mediterranean on a regular basis. There's evidence to show that they even went into the Atlantic Ocean as far as England and the southern tip of Africa. They were some of the first people that we know of that used stars to help navigate, and they established colonies along these sea trade routes in places such as Cyprus, Gibraltar, and Carthage. Because they did so much trade, it was necessary for them to come up with some type of record keeping, and they developed a written alphabet with 22 consonants. This alphabet was adapted by the Greeks and added some vowels to it. And this Phoenician alphabet is the basis for the Western alphabet as we know it now, your A, B, C, D. They also had the Byblos, which is a Phoenician port known for trade in papyrus, okay? It's the Greek word, this Byblos is the Greek word for it is biblion, and that's the origin for the name where we get our Bible. Kind of interesting. The next group of people we want to talk about is the Assyrians. The Assyrians were descendants of Asher, and Asher was the son of Shem. Okay, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, Noah's sons on the ark. So the Assyrians descend from Shem. They developed in northern Mesopotamia along a major trade route, and one of their oldest cities is called Asher. They were a very strong military people, and they used this military to protect their own land. They used their military to control the trade and other people on their trade routes. And they were known as fierce fighters who used extremely cruel methods to control people and make them obey them. They are known for using terror to control their conquered people. If they conquered you, they would just do horrible things, terroristic things, just such horrible that it would make you think, oh, we better not do anything to them. We just better do exactly what they say. And this is how they built their empire. And their empire eventually extended to places as Babylon, Syria, Palestine, and even all the way to Egypt. They eventually conquered the northern kingdom of Israel in about 721 BC, and Nineveh, the place Jonah was sent, was their capital. So those are some of the people that we want to talk about in the nations of the Near East. And we're going to cover a few more of these in the next chapter. But so we just want to make sure that we're familiar and understand that there were many other people in this area. And so it wasn't just the Israelites. And we'll see some of these people through the Bible, but also through history and archaeology and things as well. Thanks.